Hey there, friends and family. We're making progress on our house here in Knoxville, and it's been a good week. This week, if I had one one title for the week, it would be the Unpacking week. So the pod did arrive this week. Now, before the pod arrived, I was working on the hot water. So we did get the hot water done, and it has a couple of features that I like quite a bit. I added the recirculating pump to the hot water system. Our hot water is on one end of the house, it's in the garage, and on the other end of the house is where we have our bathrooms and shower and things like that. So the water was going to take a long time. Hot water was going to take a long time to get there, and so I just to avoid the waiting, we had the recirculating pump. So what that'll do is that'll keep the hot water in the pipes, and so what I chose to do, since I was plumbing the system from the ground up, is to add the feedback line. Instead of using the cold water like sometimes people do, we have the hot water coming back and it feeds up into the cold that goes into the tank. So now we won't be using the cold water for the recirculating pump like sometimes happens. Once we got that going, I did some experiments to see what what the water pressure is doing. When I was at the plumbing stores, I heard several times, way too many times, people saying, my water pressure regulator went out, which was the case here. Water went out, and then I ended up with all this damage because things started breaking. And so I added a water pressure gauge to the plumbing system here, so I can just see what the water pressure is. Now the thing is, if you don't have an expansion tank, then the water, once you heat the water, as you heat up, water comes in and then the regulator kind of shuts off the water. Anyway, doesn't matter. The bottom line is you need an expansion tank in order to prevent high pressure. So in one case, I turned on the hot water heater, and very quickly the water pressure for the house went up to 80 psi. And so we've got the expansion tank now, and so now it always stays below, it stays below 70 at this point. And so anyway, so now getting to the point where the pod did arrive. I was very anxious about the things in the pod being safe, I guess. I was wondering were things broken, how were they, how things got packaged, and of course moving across the country, who knows how it moved across the country. And I was very surprised. I was very surprised at how well things arrived here, very much the way they got boxed up and packaged. So I've not seen any damage on anything. So whoever made all those decisions, we had Mike, we had Bryce, we had Anthony. You guys were helping me put things in the pod. I highly recommend those guys. If you need to put something in a pod and have it go a long way, those guys did a great job of putting everything into the pod and having it be such that it wouldn't get broken. So thank you guys very much. The next step is kind of a tough one for me, because I would like to get into the next thing of building, but what I chose to do was to stop and to get myself organized. I built some shelves, and the wood that I used was this wood that was left over in this shed, and it's kind of warped wood. You can see as I'm putting this together, the wood is all warped as I'm trying to make these shelves. But I used that wood to make some shelves, and then once the shelves were done, they're sturdy. They're sturdy shelves, and got my tools kind of up there, so now I can kind of see them and get to them quickly. And now that I've got that done, I'm getting myself ready for this next project. A part of that was putting the whole table saw together. I was able to get it together. It seems to work really well, so I'm very happy about that. I've had these weird feelings, like I'm in Tennessee now. It's a long way from Boise, but all the things, like I spent 26 years in Boise, and all those things that I've been using in Boise, they're here now, but this place has got some, it's unfamiliar, but there's things that I've been using for a long time that were familiar. It's a very strange feeling to have these things. These things are just things, you buy them in the store. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a weird week in terms of just reconnecting with those material possessions. I don't know. It provides, I guess, some sense of connection back to Idaho, even though they're just metal objects. But the table saw was very nice to have that back again in operation. coming up this next week, we've got we'll be taking some breaks, some time off. We've got some anniversaries to think about, and got some family coming in. So we're going to be enjoying the time, but there'll be a few little projects, and it's going to be centered on the beginning of the building up of the bathroom. So that's going to be what's coming up here. And the next Sunday is Christmas Eve. Who knows if the video will actually get out the door on Christmas Eve. It might be 2 weeks before I send out an update. So we'll see. But anyway, that's what's going on here in Knoxville. Thanks a lot.